Hi everyone, Tom here from Front End Beginners, and in this video we'll look at the Flex Direction property in CSS Flexbox. For this example, I've set up a full width flex container with a light grey background and placed 3 flex items inside it, these 3 coloured squares. The Flex Direction property is applied to the parent flex container element, which in this example is our grey box inside which our 3 child flex items live. The sole purpose of the Flex Direction property is to determine the direction in which our flex items are laid out. When talking about flex direction, it's important to think in terms of rows and columns. A row runs along the horizontal axis from left to right or right to left, and a column runs along the vertical axis from top to bottom or bottom to top. By default, when creating a flex container, by giving an element a display property of flex, the flex direction is set to a value of row. This means that the child flex items inside the container will be laid out in a row along the horizontal axis. They will be laid out side by side based on their original order in the HTML. This can be seen by our example here in the browser. Our items are laid out side by side in their original order of item 1, 2, and 3. The Flex Direction property accepts 4 different values. The default value is row, with the other options being column, row reverse, and column reverse. Let's have a look at each of these in turn. To apply a flex direction rule, we first need to target our parent flex container element. In this example, our parent element is the div with a class of container, inside which we have our 3 child items with a class of square. So let's target our div with the class of container, which we have at the top of the CSS here. Container with display flex. I'll drop down a couple of lines just to make things more clear. Let's give it a flex direction property and start with the value of row. As discussed a moment ago, this is the default value implicitly assigned to a flex container. So when we look in the browser, there's no difference in the layout. Our items are aligned in the row direction based on their original order in the HTML. Next, we have a value of column. This instructs our parent flex container to rearrange our child flex items into a column rather than the default row. By applying a flex direction of column, our flex items are now laid out on the vertical axis, with the first element in the HTML on top and the following elements positioned below it, as we can see here. The other 2 values that we have available to us are row reverse and column reverse, which simply lay out the child flex items in either a row or column direction, but reverse their order on the page. If we apply a value of row reverse, we'll see that our layout returns to the default row direction, but that our elements are now positioned in reversed order of 3, 2, 1. The same is true for column reverse. The layout is now in the column direction, but our elements are positioned in reverse order. Note that both row reverse and column reverse may present accessibility issues for users of assistive technology such as screen readers. As the elements remain in their original order in the HTML, a screen reader will navigate these elements in that order and not in the visual CSS order that the items are displayed in on screen. If the order of the elements is important regarding the content they contain, it's better to arrange these appropriately in the HTML rather than affecting their order visually with CSS. Using row reverse or column reverse purely for decorative reasons shouldn't present any issues, provided they do not contain content where the order is important for the user. One more important thing to mention is the effect of the flex direction property on the Flexbox axes. When dealing with flex containers, we often think in terms of the main axis and the cross axis. This is particularly important when it comes to the alignment of our flex items inside the container. The main axis always runs in the same direction as the flex direction of the container. So in a container with a flex direction of row, the main axis will run in the row direction along the horizontal plane. In a container with a flex direction of column, the main axis runs in the column direction, or on the vertical plane. The cross-axis always runs in the opposite direction to the main axis. When using Flexbox alignment properties such as justify content or align items, keep in mind that these properties relate to a specific axis. Their use will depend on the flex direction you have set in your parent flex container. I think that pretty much sums up the basics of flex direction. Remember to apply flex direction to your parent flex container, and always keep in mind the direction of your main axis follows the flex direction of your container. This is an important consideration for alignment purposes. Also bear in mind that row reverse and column reverse shouldn't be used where the order of the content is important, as this may have a negative effect on usability for users of assistive technology. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.